On today's episode of No We're Actually Scared, we're heading to Michigan.
Car talk?
We're actually going to talk about some cryptids.
Oh.
We haven't gone deep into cryptids on this show yet. This is the one.
I didn't know Chevy made cryptids.
Let's talk some nonsense. All right, welcome back to another episode of No We're Actually Scared. We're going to Detroit. We're going to do a state episode.
I like it.
I heard an urban legend that I've never heard of before in my life.
Okay.
All right. It's called the Non Rouge.
The Non Rouge.
The Nain Rouge or Non Rouge. Or you got to say it like French, like Non Rouge.
How about Moulin Rouge? Is it a relation to that at all? The movie?
I mean, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. But this is I guess Non Rouge means red dwarf in French.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So this is cryptid.
I'm getting a French lesson and a cryptid lesson right here.
Yeah. We never talk about cryptids, really. I mean, they pop into our road stories and our Portal to Hell stories, but...
They pop in.
Pop in. Yeah, they just show up and say hi, like the Jersey Devil or...
Yes.
What? Is he considered a cryptid? Like, I feel like he's his own thing.
I mean, well...
What is the definition of cryptid? Where does that come from?
I don't know what the actual definition of it, but I would classify him as a cryptid.
You would think, right?
Yeah,
Like,
I
why
mean-
wouldn't he be lumped in with Bigfoot and...
Mothman. I think they're all like cryptids. Chupacabras.
Skinwalkers.
Yeah, skinwalkers. All that shit's cryptids.
It's got to be cryptids, right?
Yeah. Yetis. All of it.
All right, we're going to call this dwarf a cryptid. So, here's this guy,
is that-
Antoine de la Motte Cadillac.
Cadillac?
Or in French, Cadillac.
The El Dorado? He makes the El Dorado?
So, this guy was the founder of Detroit.
Really?
Yeah, so
That's where the name comes from. Huh?
It's kind of wild that I've never heard this urban legend, and it literally pertains to the founding of the city. Like, It's a huge backstory, like, of how the city was founded. This guy was living in Quebec, or at the time, New France in the 1700s.
Okay.
And they're just partying up with their rich boys, man. They got an Eyes Wide Shut party going on.
So this guy had money.
This guy was flush.
No wonders why they call it a Cadillac.
But then they're like, hey, I got an idea, boys. Let's go get a fortune teller. So the fortune teller shows up to the party.
Doesn't that always bring the downer in a little bit? Like, it's always the rich guys. Like, oh, hey, man, I'm curious about my fortune. I want to get my fortune read.
So he's like, listen, I want to make sure my legacy's good. What do I got to do to make sure everything is good? I'm going to Detroit. I'm starting the city. What do I got to do? And what do you see in your crystal ball or whatever, my palms or whatever she's reading? And the fortune teller goes, the city is going to be populated way beyond what New France is populated. It's going to have a massive population, but it will not be successful under the current flag, and it will have multiple flag changes.
Really?
So...
Kind of an omen.
Kind of an omen. Then, Revolutionary War. It's going to go France, England.
French and Indian War, I think.
Indian War.
War of 1812. Yep.
Yeah. So back and forth a million times. But then she says, I have a warning for you. There is this red dwarf, this impish creature. And when you see him, the only way you're going to be successful here is if you can appease this guy. So make sure not to offend the imp. Make sure you don't offend the red dwarf.
Can I take a guess what he does? Does he offend the imp?
So they get to Detroit. He's just walking down. I think it's the Windsor Tunnel. That might be Canada.
No. Windsor's right on the other side of Detroit.
That is.
Yep.
What is the tunnel, though, in Detroit?
We'll go with
I think
Windsor.
it's the Windsor Tunnel.
Yeah,
We're making it up. It's fine.
Well, Windsor's the city across. So
him and his wife are walking down here, and, they come across the imp. He kind of bumps his wife or, whatever. And this dude, out of, anger, they see the imp. His wife's trying to tell him, that's the thing the fortune teller's talking about. That's the thing. And he just smacks it with his cane.
Smart man.
And says, get away from me, imp.
He's a manly man. I like him. I like him.
And now he's fucked.
Cadillac dude's all right.
And now he is fucked.
So what happens to him? Anything?
So he goes on about, has his city or whatever. All of a sudden... charged with abuse of power.
Uh-oh.
Leaves for Louisiana. Works down there for a little while.
All right.
And then gets sent back to France, jailed, and has his entire fortune confiscated.
Yeah, that doesn't sound too good.
So...
the omen came true.
The omen came true. Do not offend the red imp.
The omen came true.
And that makes you wonder, this imp... we always think cryptids are physical things, right?
Right.
But this thing is kind of more like a demonic,
Really?
if he... Well, I don't know. I'm just saying, Instead of him just like fighting him or eating him,
Right.
he's an omen of something bad, and he's a
Right.
trickster, and he's able to manipulate the world. That sounds kind of demonic to me.
Sounds a little demonic.
I think so.
Sounds a little. We talked about it on the last episode with Roanoke. The banshee, kind of like a banshee, kind of foretelling like bad omen.
Yeah, when you see it, something bad's about to go down.
The banshee's death. This one is like bad luck, maybe,
Yep.
or bad fortune, or
Well, the crazy thing too, you guys can go on YouTube. You can check this out. There's a parade called the March to None,
that's pretty cool.
and it's in Detroit every year. And they get somebody to dress up with their red mask and the horns or whatever, and then they all just shout obscenities and boo at this guy and make him leave Detroit. Like, get out of here, Detroit.
Sounds like a wrestling match that I would like to attend.
Yeah.
Get out of here, devil.
Just a bunch of drunk Midwesterners screaming at a red-faced guy.
Sounds like a good party to go to.
It sounds pretty fun. I like it. Everybody's dressed up in Halloween costumes. They say no one wants to look like yourself. You're supposed to disguise yourself.
Right.
Because you don't want him bringing you bad luck.
right.
And they just want to get him out of Detroit.
It's a pretty cool thing.
Unfortunately, if you look at Detroit's economy, I don't think they've ever gotten rid of the Red Dwarf.
Yeah,
because it just seems perpetually cursed.
I wonder if they if it's just been bad luck, like the demolishing of the car industry, the city in general,
Just
the
consistent
water,
bad luck.
the water. You can't drink the water in Michigan, right?
In Flint, yeah.
Detroit, Flint, they're all the same.
Yeah, we don't know. It's got to be around there somewhere. But it's crazy. There's two other times in history. 1805, during the Great Fire that almost burned down the entire city of Detroit, there were multiple sightings of the Red Dwarf,
Okay,
the Nain Rouge.
so there's your foreshadowing, your foretelling.
And right before the War of 1812. He was also
Really?
sighted multiple times. So,
I didn't know that the War of 1812 was like on the shores of Detroit.
yeah, isn't that kind of wild?
Yeah, you think Lake Erie though. Lake Erie goes there. So,
Yeah. But yeah, this thing just pops up when bad, big,
Events.
life-altering changes or nation-altering changes occur.
Now I remember when you were talking about the parade. You said the parade was on like the Masonic Lodge too. Like
They have a Masonic temple in
Yeah.
Detroit,
it's a little odd.
and that's where they hold the parade. It's a little strange.
Yeah, like worshiping. You know how we always talk about secret societies and worshiping devils.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's a little strange.
Is that where he hides out? Like that's where he stays inside the Masonic Lodge?
Yeah. Well, the crazy thing is that there's like this counterculture in Detroit. These people have way too much time on their hands. They're actually arguing that the dwarf is the protector and guardian of Detroit.
So there's
It
people.
was keeping out that bad politician.
They're on both sides of the fence.
So there's two people fighting over whether this dwarf is a good guy or a bad guy.
Wow. I would not think it would be that in depth.
You would think just urban legend in Detroit, but they have like signs that say like no name shaming. Like
Really?
Oh yeah, they're
Wow.
like stop it, and they're thinking like this creature might be like reminiscent of like the old Native American like imp and things they had in their lore.
Right. That makes sense.
So it might be like
Like I said, how many cryptids are inside Native American legend? And
right, and the not to offend thing's kind of cool too. Like you think about it, like I mean maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe he is a protector, but if you wrong him or you just
Piss him off.
act like the land's yours and
or whack him with a cane.
or hit him with a cane after they told you, man. They told you.
I think it would piss you off enough, man.
Yeah. Apparently he's got big sharp teeth. He's got yellow eyes.
So, regular citizen of Detroit, Michigan. I'm just kidding. That's what crystal meth does, people.
Motown.
Yeah. No sugar pie honey bunch on that one. Little Motown.
But also, if you just go and search through this thing like I've been doing, you hit Google, all you see are like people trying to get crowdfunding to make like Red Dwarf movies. So you guys can find millions of them online. And apparently Eminem's brother starred in one.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know he had a brother.
I haven't seen 8 Mile in a long time. Did his mom have another kid in there?
I couldn't tell you.
I don't remember.
I just remember the one music video when he was writing his look-alike fan, Stan.
Oh, yeah.
And,
Stan. That's crazy that turned into like a whole thing. Now everybody says like I stand
Stan,
things. And I think a lot of people that say that don't understand that's from him.
Yeah, they were probably born in like 2008.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't understand that.
It was because Stan was a super fan.
Exactly.
And he's like, hey, you never answered me.
I'm
And
one of your
last time I wrote.
Stans, man. Why you gotta be Stan? Yeah, it's kind of nuts. Hey, maybe Kid Rock is the imp. Who knows?
I forgot Kid Rock's in Michigan.
Yeah, Detroit.
There's a lot of wild people out in the forest of Michigan.
There's a ton of like musical talent, dude.
Yeah.
Like tons.
The Motor City Madman.
Bob Seger.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ted Nugent.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a ton, dude.
Yeah, it's crazy to think about, like Michigan.
Yeah, you had all them in Motown, the whole Motown movement.
Like when you say the word Michigan, do you think Detroit?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess you think of like the car industry.
Industry. That's the first thing that pops in my head.
Yeah, that's the first thing. Yeah, like when we actually made cars here.
Probably Motown second.
Yeah,
and then like the Detroit Red Wings or Lions.
And now a word from our sponsor.
Today's episode of No, We're Actually Scared is brought to you by Boomer's Thrift Barn. Are you tired of paying ridiculously high prices for clothing?
Hell yeah.
Well, we have the store for you. Boomer's Thrift Barn is one-stop shopping for name brands, men and women's clothing. They have a giant selection of vintage gear at a price point that meets your budget.
They got sports stuff?
They have sports gear, they have band shirts, everything vintage. It's one-stop shop. Go to Boomer's Thrift Barn on Instagram and click the link in the profile to take you to one of their selling platforms. Get a 15% discount on eBay with promo code SCARED15.
That promo code again is SCARED15 and only on eBay.
Remember, Boomer's Thrift Barn for your one-stop shop for new, used, and vintage clothing.
And now, back to the show. Yep.
That's what I think.
Hey,
or Big Blue.
Things are looking up, man. Maybe the Dwarf hasn't come across Jared Goff yet.
Yeah, maybe they chased him off with all the parades or whatever they're doing.
they finally fixed the Lions.
They fixed them, man. I mean, if you want to talk about curses, if there's a curse franchise,
there's a bigger curse.
It's the Detroit Lions.
Yeah.
They never won a championship, barely made the playoffs for 50.
Barry Sanders played there for like 5 years and said, I'm leaving. I'm done.
I'm done. Yeah, it could be a curse, man. Could be a curse.
It's interesting. Well, that's cryptid number 1. Cryptid number 2, the Melonheads.
That sounds like a great band name.
Yeah. I was trying to remember. I always thought there was a band named the Melonheads, but it's the Lemonheads, not the Melonheads. Yeah. But the Melonheads.
The Melonhead sounds pretty fucking bad.
It sounds punk rock.
Yeah.
Like that's on the bottom of your skateboard. Like Melonheads. Some dude with a bulbous head.
It's like a mix between Coneheads and like Pinky and the Brain.
Yeah.
Like somewhere in that cross pattern.
Yeah. So there's this mansion, I guess, out in Michigan somewhere. And this is very in-depth. I have all the information, of course. I don't know where it is. But it's called something mansion. And this guy's doing experiments on people. And then there's an insane asylum next door. And there's a bunch of other things, and I'm not sure which one is the true story. But anyways, let's just go with it.
All right.
Doing experiments on these kids. Eventually, this building turns into a hospital. There's a condition called hydrocephalus where, babies' heads often swell up and get big. And maybe this is just a way of them, like, coping with that. And, seeing that, like, they're the melon heads or whatever. Or maybe they're evil mutant creatures that this guy created in a lab. And they were said to have escaped, rised up, killed the doctor, and ran off into the woods of Michigan.
Killed the doctor.
Yep.
So this is like Dr. Frankenstein.
This is like, he makes his stuff and then
inflating people's
just
heads.
A bunch of big-headed little children, demon monsters, just eat him. And, like, I don't know if they eat him, but they beat the shit out of him and kill him.
Well, that would be pretty good. There you go with your movie idea. A bunch of Melonheads.
I think the Melonhead movie might be better than the Red Dwarf movie.
It's a great name.
Let's talk to the Detroiters, dude. I want to see the Melonhead.
It's a great name.
Yeah, they're like zombies, dude. They're just like little.
I don't know how like one of the football team, like Michigan State or
Michigan Melonheads.
Yeah, dude.
Dude, that's badass.
Like I know a lot of like the college teams go with like the Civil War.
Might be offending people with big heads.
But the fucking Melonheads, dude. Like that would be fucking awesome, man.
Dude,
like,
I'm a Melonhead.
Like instead of
your
wearing
mascot's just like a big head.
Yeah, instead of like the Packers wearing cheese heads, dude. Everyone's got like a bulbous head, dude. Like, like in the stands. Like that'd be.
It sounds awesome. That's a sick tailgate,
that'd
dude.
Be awesome.
Everyone's got big heads.
Everybody would have big heads, dude.
But apparently, people are driving down these roads and they'll just see these little bulbous head people skittering through the forest. They got yellow, glowing eyes.
Sounds like what was that one movie with Christopher Reeve? Wasn't Children of the Corn, but he used to have. They were like all blonde kids. Do you know what I'm talking about at all?
It sounds familiar.
And they used to like hypnotize, like brain control you. mind control you with their like eyes. Their eyes would start like glowing.
What?
Yeah, there was a Christopher Reeve movie, Superman. I'm talking about.
Yeah, the old Superman.
Yeah.
All right, hold on. I'm gonna look it up. Bear with me.
They used to have they didn't have melon heads, but they used to have like glowing eyes, and they used to fucking like mind control you by looking at it. Would be like, oh, go kill him, and then they would have somebody go kill. What movie is that? Do you have the name yet?
No,
dude, it's a crazy. It's from like the 80s, early 80s.
Yeah.
Maybe late 70s.
Glowing eyes, and maybe it'll come up.
Just type in Christopher Reeve.
I did. I went through all his. Village of the Damned.
Village of the Damned.
I don't think I've ever seen that.
No, it was pretty good.
It's 1960.
1960? No way.
That can't be right.
Like, no way. Like,
the remake is 1995 with Christopher Reeve. Directed by John Carpenter.
Yeah.
No shit. I've never seen this movie.
Never saw that movie?
No.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking with the melonheads.
Yeah, where they glow their eyes like that?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yep, and they would tell you what to do. Like, they would just take over your mind.
Oh, it's a Carpenter movie.
Yeah. Yeah, it was real good, dude. I enjoyed it.
No shit. And he was probably paralyzed, like, right after that.
Right after that, yeah.
Because 95, yeah. It had to be very soon after.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
But yeah, these melonheads, they skitter through the forest or whatever. You're just driving down, you see them running through the forest, and then people said they found like just deer parts, like a leg or a hoof or something.
That's what they're eating.
Like that whole part just like ripped off, like just sitting in the road. And then there was stories of people camping, and they would just come in and ruffle up the campsite, steal all the food.
Now that freaks me out a little bit because you ever get into the rabbit hole on YouTube? And, like, watch, like, the camping videos.
Right.
Like, scary encounters in the woods.
Oh, yeah, where they're just sitting in the tent.
It's like someone's pounding on my tent right now. I don't know what to do. Like, I would shit my pants, first off. Second off, I'm not going there without a gun.
Absolutely
Like,
not.
I'm not going by myself in the woods without...
I think Michigan still has open carry, though.
Is it? I don't know.
I've definitely watched one of those. I don't know if it's... What are they called? Sovereign citizens or whatever?
Yeah.
I've watched one of those videos in Michigan where... they just walk around like in a line with rifles, and they wait for cops to pull them over, and then just be like, "This is my right." Like they they like try to start shit. Basically, they're like, "You guys can't walk around with guns over here."
Yeah.
And they're like, "Yes, we can." This is and they go through like the whole thing.
Yep.
And it's like I gotcha. Like we're following the rules.
I got nothing to do with my life.
We just pull our rifles
Can
and
you
walk in a
imagine-
line down Detroit in Detroit.
Waking up in the morning and just like, I'm gonna hassle the police today. like that's my task on the day, dude. Like I'm just gonna hassle.
Not to like advocate for the hassle the other way, but it does seem like you have a lot of time on your hands.
A lot of time on your hands.
If you're just getting a group of your boys together with rifles to walk around Detroit.
You wonder how much like money they make from their monetizing, like on their YouTube channel or their Instagram.
It's interesting, right?
Like
I think a lot of them too. Like they say, like they're like kind of like vigilantes ish. Like the cops aren't doing anything, so we're gonna walk around with our guns and show up presents.
That's never a good thing.
It's never a good sign of good things to come.
Yeah, and then they're all like they're so defensive when it happens.
Yeah,
it's like no, dude, you look a little odd right now. Like I understand that you're right, dude, but no need to be.
You look
walking,
like you're in a militia. Like,
yeah, no need to be walking back and forth in front of the Walmart with the rifle, dude. Like, I understand, like you have it on you, dude, but come on,
let's relax.
We don't have to do the. What is it? The unknown soldier. We don't have to protect that grave right now, like in front of the Walmart. The march back and forth.
Yeah,
but whatever.
But yeah, gun control in Detroit. That Whitmer kidnapping was an absolute Fed setup.
That's another thing, right?
We gotta have to talk about Detroit. I feel like we have to talk about Governor Whitmer and how she lied about her own kidnapping.
Where's a setup with 16 FBI agents that were all
to two like idiots out in like the rural Detroit
that they infiltrated this group of
and they're like, hey, go take a picture holding a gun in front of that bridge. Hey, do you want to kidnap the governor? This is the FBI. Like, this is their job. Like, all right, you're working for the FBI. You're Joe Smith. You're coming in with your thing. They're like, all right, you're going to Michigan, and you're going to convince this guy to try to kidnap the governor. And then we're going to give you, like, 11 more agents to go with you.
Yeah.
And we're all going to go together, and we're just going to make sure that this one guy gets arrested.
Yep.
That's not entrapment.
I think there were two guys.
There were two humans and, like, 12 FBI agents.
It makes sense, right?
Like... That was where FBI resources were spent.
So now do you?
Dude, how many unsolved murders are there? I know they're not. It's not the responsibility of the federal government, but
the FBI is, yeah.
Like in some ways, yeah. But like it's just like I know that's not like fully like under them, but what a waste of resources.
Tons.
to go and trap
Tons.
some like inbred fucking guy from the woods of Michigan.
I don't know if he was inbred, but
I mean, yeah, maybe this is a little mean and rude, but he was gullible enough to go along with the feds to say like I'm gonna kidnap the governor, but he didn't even come up with the idea. The FBI did.
Right.
That's the crazy thing. The FBI is like, we're going to kidnap Governor Whit. Are you in? And then, like, become friends with him and then say all the things he wants to hear.
Yeah, go to the meetings.
Yeah.
They're...
And rah-rah, and they're like...
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's a crazy thing.
12 people to, like, 2 humans.
Yeah, to 2
Because
citizens.
I'm saying the FBI isn't human, but...
Yeah.
I mean, maybe they aren't. We don't know.
The real crazy thing... and
you have to be an inhumane person to do something like that.
A little bit.
You're literally just trying to jail people. You're playing a game.
Just think of, but you know what it is though. It's a headline catcher.
Right.
That's look at the job the FBI did. They stopped this kidnapping.
And also for Whitmer, people were trying to kidnap me.
Right.
The rise of domestic terrorism.
Domestic terrorism was a big word in that time.
And now we can hold people. Now we can go try to arrest our own citizens.
And then you really wonder like how many like actual like not scams but plans that they had for like terrorism.
Just entrapment plans.
Did they stop that were the FBI setting up the fucking terrorism?
The FBI set up the plan so that they could stop the plan.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Like, we stopped the terrorist attack from happening this weekend.
It's just crazy how that got swept under the rug. Other than like conspiracy theorists, like the Whitmer plot, and just the fact that this dude's like going to jail because the FBI came up with a plot to.
I think she still goes on that too.
She's still running.
Like,
she'll still Like I was like, I was almost kidnapped.
There was a plot to kidnap me. Oh, yeah, it's crazy, dude. Yeah, Michigan's a wild place, man.
Yeah, you guys got to fix your state. I'm sorry. Yeah. You got to fix it.
The water, number one.
Yeah, the water. Can we fix the water?
Like, we're in the U.S., dude. Like
fix the water.
Fix the water. Like that, you're surrounded by Great Lakes.
Stop talking about your kidnap plot and fix the water.
Fix the water. They would solve the problem. Number 2, the jobs. Bring back the jobs to Michigan.
Yeah, let's make some cars.
Yeah.
Let's not make the cars in Mexico and assemble them in Detroit. Let's make them in Detroit.
I just love how off the rails we got with this already. Like, completely off the rails. Yeah, dude, it's an insane thing. It's an insane thing.
But yeah, the Lemonheads.
Maybe
that's a cool that's another cryptid.
Maybe they were Lemonheads, dude. Maybe those 2 guys were Lemonheads. Or Big Heads, or whatever the fuck they're called.
I think it was what happened too. Like I'm like telling this story 14 different ways, but I think like the asylum closed too, so they just let a bunch of people like out on the streets and like could have been like perfect. The Lemonhead people too.
All I think about is when you ever tell me like an insane asylum was just like, oh, here you go, here your releases today.
Yeah,
I think of the Halloween, the first Halloween
with Michael Myers.
With Michael Myers, and it's like the flipped over fucking van when he's getting transported to the hospital.
Yeah.
And they're just in their like fucking nightgowns walking around the front lawn, like in the middle of the state asylum.
Yeah, everybody's just walking around. Yeah.
That's all I think about every time.
That's funny. All right, well, cryptid number 3.
We got another one?
Oh, yeah. This is actually a big one in Detroit. The Dog Man.
Dog Man.
Yeah. So I don't have a good story behind this one. There's not a lot of legend or myth. But there is like 1 million sightings, dude.
Yeah, I'm sure. There's a lot of wilderness.
There's like 1 million sightings of the Dog Man. And they span from Ontario to Wisconsin. And it's always like a tall wolf creature
on his hind legs
that stands upright, almost a human body, but with like a ferocious dog face.
Looks like a wolf, but more like standing, like more like manly, like okay.
He's got pecs. He works out. He might have some traps.
That's like the Harry Potter werewolf, right?
Yeah. So this thing stands up, or Twilight? You're thinking of
Twilight.
Oh, yeah,
jeez.
The wolf.
I don't think I've ever seen Twilight, so no, I'm not thinking of that.
No.
I'm thinking of like Sirius Black, man. Wasn't the other guy a werewolf?
I don't think I got that far in Harry Potter. Sirius Black's a wolf?
You remember what they used to like transform into animals? They could.
Not really.
No.
I remember the chess game.
I'm telling you, one of them was a werewolf, and they had a big epic fight, dude.
With a werewolf?
Yeah, a werewolf and a dog.
When did Harry Potter fight a werewolf?
I don't think Harry Potter fought the werewolf.
Somebody else was fighting a werewolf?
I think Sirius Black fought the werewolf.
I'm lost.
I'm telling you, I remember it was like in front of a tree.
I'm lost. That's interesting.
Yep.
Okay.
Professor Lupin.
I guess I have to go watch Harry Potter.
That's the name.
Lupin. So yeah, they see this thing stand up. Some of the rumors about the thing include the fact that it may be skinwalker, shapeshifter. What's the other word for him?
Caught in between.
Yeah, that gets caught in between. So it's a man that's able to turn into a wolf, but it got stuck. Just didn't make it through the transformation.
Yeah, that's...
So maybe like a werewolf that like...
That's creepy.
Yeah, and now he's just stuck. He's a wolf forever.
Just walking around on his hind legs in the fucking woods in Michigan.
Yeah, and that's your life now.
Yeah. Can you imagine?
Yeah, dude.
Like, man, you're just going to like...
You already had a rough go of it, dude.
Yeah.
You're turning into a werewolf every time there's a full moon. You got to walk around. You got to eat a couple deer or something. Yeah. And now, dude, you're like, all right, I got to do it again. And you start turning, and then you're like standing up. All your bones are cracking, and you're like, whatever. God. And then all of a sudden it just stops.
Stops halfway, and you're just
the moon just didn't go fully full or something.
Yeah.
Now I'm just a wolf, man.
See, I'm just picturing a guy like leaving his Ford job at the press plant.
Yep.
And he's driving to the Pistons game, and he's like, oh, fuck, man, I hope the Pistons cover. I got them minus 11.5. And all of a sudden, he just starts transforming and is behind the steering wheel.
And all the metal from the American car helped keep out the moon's radiation. Yeah. And it didn't go all the way.
It didn't go all the way.
So he just ended up half.
He's a hybrid. He's a hybrid out there running around, man.
And it's not even called the Wolf Man. It's called the Dog Man.
Dog Man.
Dog Man, sorry. He has a dog face.
Dog Man.
But they say its scream isn't like a dog scream. It's like a man scream, but like more powerful. Just more guttural.
Something that we're not going to be able to.
We couldn't make that sound.
I like it.
Yeah. And then there's stories of like government cover-ups with the Wolf Man.
I could see that.
Tractor trailers going through that would like smell like an animal in the back.
Could it be an experiment gone wrong?
And there's a military installation right by the forest where the dog
man's
been seen. So the military's always just happens to be around where these cryptids are.
Go figure.
Yeah. And then there's the other thing. Maybe it's not a werewolf like mythological. What if it's just like they turned a man and trying to make him a super soldier, and he only made it halfway into a dog or whatever.
Experiment gone wrong, dude.
Yep.
Like, and then he got out.
And And
he's feeding on some lemon heads, dude.
Well, here's your mythological thing too. He only comes every 10 years.
What?
In years that end in 7. Actually, he doesn't only come then, but he always comes every 10 years in years that end in 7.
Okay.
So he'll be there in 2007, 2017, 2027. There'll always be a big sighting.
Really?
Of the Dog Man.
Now, is he an omen guy too? Like, does he bring any bad luck?
No, I think he just fucks shit up.
Just fucks shit up.
Yeah, but tons of people have seen him. He's countless sightings.
He's the reason for the water problem in Flint. He just pisses in the water. God, man, we got a lot of poison in our fucking water. it's Dog Man.
But it's funny. There's like werewolf stories in Wisconsin too, and I forgot where it was, but it's right along the same area, and they have their own like werewolf name.
Really?
And it's like it's probably all Dog Man.
Yeah, it has to be.
He's just bouncing around, which makes you think: is Dog Man on his own, or is Dog Man like a species now?
Probably. He's probably mating with the local dogs.
Like finding wolves or something in Michigan.
Yeah, that's why the sightings are up, man.
It's true. Yeah, they're making their way to Canada, dude.
Yeah. They're just roaming out further and further.
Yeah. Eventually, you're gonna walk into your cubicle and see the Dog Man behind the desk with like a clip-on tie.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you imagine? The Dog
They're just part of society.
He's just working at like Hertz Rent-A-Car. He's a real nice guy.
Do you want the insurance?
Yeah. He's a real nice guy.
But yeah, cryptids. Like I'm not huge into cryptids. It was never my big thing. But ever since I saw the Nain Rouge and just like, I don't know how I've never heard that story.
I've never heard.
You've never heard that story, right?
Never. And
that's a major city in America.
Yeah.
I think that just shows like the downfall of Detroit and how like not prevalent they are.
I think they're coming back. A little bit.
Don't they say that every couple of years though? That Detroit's back? Detroit's coming back?
I think they're coming back.
If the Lions win the Super Bowl, they might be full back.
They're definitely back. If they win the Super Bowl. But yeah, I think they're coming back. It's kind of like that Rust Belt type of thing. Like all these cities are kind of going through like a resurgence.
Yeah,
a little bit.
They got to refine their industry.
Yeah, they're turning the foundries into lofts and getting younger people to come in. And
yeah,
I mean,
it was one of the richest cities in the country.
Yes, I was just gonna say that. You know, the most amount of millionaires used to live in Detroit in like 1950 to 1970.
Right, because everyone had a job at the Ford plant.
It's crazy. It's crazy to think about.
And you could be millionaires doing that.
It's crazy to think about.
And those pensions were insane. They had sweepers who were set for life.
Yes. Yeah. You were the janitor. You had a pension. Your family was covered with medical.
You were taken care of forever.
Forever.
Yeah.
Forever.
And when we made things in America.
Yeah.
And then Clinton signed that agreement.
Then everything went downhill.
And now you're lucky to make $30 an hour, and you never know, they might close your plant.
Yep. Just getting rid of manufacturing one day at a time. One day at a time.
And then if we ever go to war, we can't make anything.
Yeah, well, I think, the C word, COVID, I think people would have learned from that.
That we don't make anything here.
Being so dependent on, like, importing
everything had
shit.
to get shipped in.
Yeah. And before, you used to, people worked at the blind factory down the street, and they worked at the paper factory that made paper towels and paper and diapers and right down the street from you, and now it's, hopefully they don't put a lot of chemicals in the baby powder.
When they send it over.
Yeah, right. Like, I hope this is all right to put on my skin, and you have no idea what the fuck's in it.
No idea.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Like I said, get back to the glory days. Make everything here.
Make it all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should be.
You see any horror movies? We haven't talked about horror movies in a long time.
Yes.
I know you watched The Exorcist 3 for the first time. What'd you think?
Yeah, I thought it was great.
Isn't it awesome?
You should have told me.
Known as one of the greatest jump scares of all time.
It was a good jump scare, but the thing that made me really excited about it
Yeah.
was, oh my God, I can't think of his name right now. George C. Martin, I think his name is. He played Patton. But you should have just said Patton was in this movie and he was the lead, and I would have fucking loved it already. That's all I was thinking about was him as Patton, dude. Patton is like the greatest movie of all time.
Yeah. And you love The Exorcist.
And he was.
Is it connected to the original Exorcist story? Because I don't remember. I've seen the jump scare so many times.
No.
Like you always see that clip.
Yeah.
But I don't think I've watched the whole movie. Maybe one time.
It is connected.
It is connected to the original?
It is connected to the original.
Yeah. The original's phenomenal. The second one, it had one good like thing going for it. It had that like beeping sound on that machine, and it had Reagan in it. But she was like, I'm not getting in the makeup. Right, I'm not going to be a demon. I'm not going to do any of this stuff. Yeah. You guys messed me up the last time. We're not doing it. So she basically like showed up, but she was kind of phoning it in.
Right.
But it had some good. It had a couple scares. It wasn't a great movie.
Now,
but I've always heard The Exorcist 3 surpasses 2.
And you know what the crazy thing was though? It's not really a horror movie.
No?
I wouldn't say it's a horror movie. I would say it's more of like a crime drama almost.
Greatest jump scare of all time.
Greatest jump scare of all time. It was good.
Huh.
But just think of like late 80s crime movie. Thriller.
Like more like thriller. More like that Exorcist movie where it was in a court.
I never saw that one.
The Exorcism, Emily Rose.
I think you're thinking of a different one. Emily Rose. Oh, yeah, because they were charging her with the murder.
They were charging the priest.
Yeah.
So something kind of like that.
So, that was. It had like the possession scene. Like, I mean, you had the flashbacks in that movie.
Yeah.
This movie, there really wasn't like. There was an epic battle at the end. Don't get me wrong, between the good forces of evil and everything.
But it wasn't this movie again.
But it was more of like
I don't remember any of it.
It was good, dude. Like it was like a crime drama almost. Like it was a police officer. He's like doing investigations. Like,
right.
He's digging into like who this guy is, and there's a serial killer tied to this, and then the demon's able to transform and leave. It was good. It was good.
All right, I'm gonna check it out. I'm gonna check this one out for sure.
There's a fantastic scene where he talks about like a catfish for like 5 minutes. Dude, it is the best scene. We'll watch it afterwards.
Well, they say that Dahmer mentioned The Exorcist 3 at a trial.
Really?
Yeah, like he turned to his lawyer and was like, "Did you catch The Exorcist 3 on the cable?"
Yeah, well, it was about a serial killer.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
It's like he...
So
wild.
Maybe that was good. And I also watched Doctor Strange.
The Marvel movie?
No, not Doctor Strange. God damn it. I can't think of
Doctor Sleep.
Whatever. Doctor something.
Doctor Sleep.
Doctor Who, whatever.
Yeah, Doctor Sleep.
Doctor
The sequel to The Shining.
Yes.
Yeah. It was better than I thought it was going to be. Yeah.
That was good, too.
It was good.
I enjoyed that.
That guy, like Mike Flanagan, he's good, man. Everything he makes is good.
I watch it with my wife, too. And,
he's a hit factory.
That kill scene with that kid.
It's wild.
It bothered her, too. So
it's wild.
Yeah. And I was watching something, too, on... I forgot.
Well, here, before you do that, to connect those two things, Mike Flanagan,
Yeah.
he's rebooting The Exorcist.
That's pretty cool.
So he's in charge of rebooting the movie. Because the last guy that did it was a complete piece of garbage and a waste of time.
The one with the 2 girls?
Awful.
Awful, yeah.
Just awful. And they're giving it to Mike Flanagan to reboot. And he's going to he said he's going to make it the scariest Exorcist movie he can.
That's pretty exciting.
So that's cool.
That's pretty exciting.
Everything he's made has been a hit.
Yeah.
House of Usher was great. The Haunting of Hill House or whatever was great.
That was good. That was real good.
Dr. Sleep.
Dr. Sleep was good.
I haven't watched Midnight Mass yet, but that's one of them.
Did you see any new movies lately?
We went and saw that Heretic movie. I dug it. I thought it was really good. The only thing is I think the trailers are misleading. I think they make it seem like it's going to be this big epic horror movie.
Yeah.
And it really is like a truly A24 slow burn great movie. But not what you would expect from watching the trailer.
Really?
But very good. I enjoyed it. I'm glad I went.
And that was Hugh Jackman?
Hugh Jackman's Wolverine.
Hugh
Grant. Hugh Grant.
Hugh somebody.
Do you remember Hugh Grant was in that movie?
Hugh Hefner?
Dude, I'm like, this is like the craziest connection ever. Hugh Grant was in that movie where she's pregnant.
Oh boy.
Do you remember that movie?
No.
And they have a fight
he's
over
like a chick flick guy.
Yeah, dude, it's one of the greatest. Dude, it's so good. I watched that movie as a kid. That movie was great.
Hugh Grant.
Oh, what is the movie called? Like Pregnant something. Dude, I've seen that. My grandma's watched that movie so many times.
Sounds like your grandma.
We're really off the
watches
rails,
movie.
man. This is not Michigan, but there's a good movie.
Hugh Grant movies. Let's look them up.
Yeah, I want to see.
He was in Unfrosted. You see that wonderful Pop-Tart movie by Jerry Seinfeld?
Oh, my God. Who made that movie?
Jerry Seinfeld.
Whose idea was it to make that movie?
Jerry Seinfeld, probably.
Oh, he made a bad choice.
9 months, dude? Is that the movie
9
you're talking
months.
about?
Yes, 9 months is great. Yeah.
9 months,
That's
man.
a great movie. I've seen that so many times as a kid. It was like that and Liar Liar on VHS tapes,
that one?
on repeat.
I'm going through it. I'm trying to see if I saw a fucking Hugh Grant movie.
I think him and Tom Arnold have a fight in like a toy store or something.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, I couldn't tell you. I never saw it.
It's good. Yeah, that was a good one.
I never saw it.
I feel like we shouldn't end the movie on 9 months and Hugh Grant.
All right,
But yeah, go see Heretic. He was great in that movie.
Bridget Jones' Diary.
I had never seen that. I mean, why are we going through Hugh Grant? Why are we going through Hugh Grant movies right now?
That's probably the only movie I've ever seen. Hugh Grant.
So on next week's episode, we have a plan, and we're going to talk about Anton LaVey. If you're not familiar with him, he invented the Church of Satan.
Yep.
And his daughter, Zena LaVey, who continues it to this day. And the fact that Taylor Swift looks a lot like her, and that she may be a witch.
It's a scary resemblance.
She might be a witch.
We'll talk about that.
That's next episode. We'll see you next time. Thank you.
Later.